Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Reader's Workshop. Today, we're going to continue reading nonfiction books, and our teaching point today is I can notice how a nonfiction book ends. Nonfiction books end in different ways. Sometimes they just end with information, like a new fact, and other times they end with a glossary or an index. So let's see what a glossary and an index are. So sometimes a nonfiction book has important text features in the back, and it might have a glossary. And a glossary is usually at the back. So nonfiction books have more information at the back. A glossary is a list of words and what the words mean. So it tells you what the words mean, the definition. For example, let's look at this glossary. In this book, they had apples, a bear, a dog, an egg, a frog, and glue. So an apple is a red fruit that grows on a tree. That's the definition of an apple. It's what it means. So if your nonfiction book has a glossary in the back, it will have words that were in your book and it will tell you what they mean. Now, sometimes a nonfiction book has an index, and an index tells us where we can find information. The index lets you see what page you can find that information on that you might want to see. So again, look at this index. In this book, it had apples. And if you want to read about apples, you can go to page 12. So an index will tell you on what page you might see that information that you want to read about. So let's read a nonfiction book together and let's see if it ends like a regular book or in a different way. So here's the cover of my book, and the name of my book is Garden Friends. So let's look at the first page. It says, meet the small animals in my garden. And there's a butterfly with a label and a snail with a label. The next page says, hello, caterpillar, you are eating a big leaf. And it's labeled again, leaf. And the caterpillar is labeled its eye and its mouth. The next page says, hello, ladybugs, you have many spots. And it's labeled the ladybug, her spot, and her head. The next page says, hello, bumblebee, you are drinking from a flower. And it's labeled again, the furry body and the flower. And the next page says, hello, frogs, you are hiding in the grass. And the foot is labeled, and it shows you the grass in the pictures. Now look at the end of my book. The end of my book ends with a glossary and an index. So my glossary has different words in my book if I want to know what they mean, like antennae, a centipede. And if I want to know what that word means, I can look at my glossary for the word and it will tell me what it means. Or if I look at my index and maybe I want to read about a ladybug, I can find ladybug and see what page the ladybug is on and go right to that page and read about it. So my book ended with a glossary and an index, but your book might not. It might end with just a new fact. So be on the lookout to see how your nonfiction book will end. It might end with a glossary, so it tells you words and what they mean. It might end with an index where it lists different words that were in your book and what pages you can find those words. Or it might just end with a new fact. It could just end with not a glossary or an index. There's so many different ways that a nonfiction book can end. My book ended with a glossary and an index, but maybe your book won't. Maybe your book will end in a different way. So for your activity, I want you to go and read some nonfiction books and tell your teacher how your book ends. So does it have a glossary? Does it have an index? Does it have a new fact? You can write, my book has, and write glossary, index, or new fact. If you're having a hard time writing a sentence, then draw what you see. Maybe you can try drawing your glossary, or maybe you can try drawing an index, or you can even draw a new fact if that's the way your book ends. We can't wait to see all your wonderful work. Have a great time reading your nonfiction books. Don't forget to be on the lookout for the end of your books and to see if it has a glossary, an index, or just a new fact.